Alrighty, this is Pandemic of Maeve US versus Alakir, the big windy guy himself. There is not too much need for an off-tank in this fight, so this will be mostly from the perspective of a melee DPS. During Phase 1, the first ability you need to watch out for was that lightning that you just saw. The more people that are nearby you, the more damage it will do, because it chains to everyone that gets hit by it. So we stacked up in 3 different groups of 3, and then had our Death Knight stand on his own because he's got pretty good self-healing and magic resistance. The other thing you need to worry about is these tornadoes. There will be a hole in the wall of tornadoes, and you just need to find your way to that quickly. The other ability you should watch out for is Wind Burst. He's casting it right now. You need to be at least halfway in on the platform, be safe, and go even closer in, otherwise you will get pushed off, and it's not a good thing if you get pushed off. You don't die, but it's still not good. The real trick to Phase 1 is balancing how you deal with the tornadoes and Wind Burst. Here we entered Phase 2. It comes pretty quickly. It's fairly obvious because the sky gets dark and you get the Acid Rain debuff. The longer this phase goes on, the higher that Acid Rain debuff will stack, and it starts doing some pretty serious raid-wide damage. The other thing that will happen is Stormlings will start spawning. These Stormlings do a pretty sizable AoE, so that's why I'm Bear and taunting them away from the raid. The other thing that you need to worry about is that when you kill a Stormling, Alakir will gain a debuff called Feedback, which increases the damage he takes by 10%, and it stacks. So the real goal of Phase 2 Alakir is just to never let those stacks drop. So you'll see here we pick up 3 Stormlings before we even kill the first one. And that's because we want to have a bit of a buffer available just in case we get slow DPS on one, or the one's slow to spawn, etc. So you do still need to watch out for the tornadoes during this phase, but you don't need to worry about the air blast. Wow, I already forgot the name of it. But you don't need to worry about that, and you don't need to worry about the ice patches. So this is really just sort of a straight-up burn phase, as long as you handle the ads correctly. And it will be fairly healing intensive, because the Acid Rain starts stacking pretty high. So our strategy for dealing with the Stormlings to make sure that they go down at the proper time was to only have myself and Jack, our Shadow Priest, on them. And he would, when they spawn, he'd just sort of dot them up, and then they'd be at low health and easy to finish off later. We try and aim for refreshing the debuff somewhere around the 5-second mark. You can go higher than that, but going lower than that's very risky, certainly if you're planning to go that low. And as you can see, the longer we're in the phase, the more inconsistent the spawns are. Or, well, it's not that the spawns are necessarily inconsistent, but our timing of how we kill them is inconsistent. So we, by the time we're nearing the end of the phase, we just kill the Stormlings as soon as they come out, have all the DPS switch to them, because you absolutely cannot afford to let that debuff rot. Alright, and so one of the more spectacular phase transition animations, we get to go flying. This particular part's kind of annoying for DPS players that want to get behind him, just because of habit or whatever. But he actually just sits there. I don't think he can dodge or block. Oh no, he dodged it. Never mind. But anyway, the trick to this phase is to handle your elevation properly. So you'll see there's a bunch of clouds spawned, and I was bad and stayed in them. The clouds spawn, and about 5 seconds later, everything at that particular elevation becomes electric death, basically. It's like 20k damage per second. And so you can live in it long enough to move down, as long as healers are on their toes and have plenty of mana, but don't take extra damage if you can avoid it. So the Wind Burst is back in this phase. Not much you can do about it. Just try and stay close to him. If you get pushed out of... it's about the same amount of range as the platform was. If you get pushed out of that, then you... I don't actually know what happens to you. I've never been there. The other thing to worry about is that Lightning Blast debuff hits everybody within 20 yards of you horizontally, but only 5 yards of you vertically. So actually, rather than moving off to the side, I should have dropped down 5 yards or something. But he goes down pretty quickly, and yeah, that's the fight.